All right, so I'll be doing kind of a road rant, but not driving. I'm going to be walking. Anybody who is well over 6 foot, former athlete, did some heavy training, can probably relate that your body just starts to hate you if you sit at a desk all day for work. And past couple weeks have been pretty rough, so I'm hurting. So I'm going to try to get a walk in there this morning. At the same time, we could do a mock draft. So exercising the body, but then also relieving the mind here by doing something besides look at research data all day. But anyway, I wanted to do a 2026 draft even before the 2025 draft because I wanted to discuss kind of like, I guess, how the 2026 draft class could potentially influence the strategy that they were going to do in the 2025 draft. Now, looking back at the 2025 draft class, I'm not sure if that's, it was very, very obvious that they were considering. Of course, there has to be some percentage of their decision making has to be, hey, next year we can probably pick up, another wide receiver. So let's not try to get 2 or 3 this year. Let's just get 1 or whatever. And, maybe we'll go after another one next year because it looks like that draft class is going to be better. That type of decision making, which I think, again, was a percentage of it, but I'm not going to say the 2025 draft class was incredibly influenced by what could happen next year. It's not like they said, oh, yeah, we'll just hold off for Braden Swinson and we'll get, on day 3. We knew that was going to happen. No, I think their strategy worked out really well. They had ideas what they wanted to target in terms of positions at certain levels of the draft and took a look at who's there and just went after it. It worked out. So anyway, point being, we're moving on to 2026 now. Now, you're probably all like, yeah, it's too early to do this. Well, yes and no. One, again, you can kind of look back, maybe see why they did 2025 a little bit, who they did and when, priority list, I guess, and especially in terms of free agency as well. But also, you get to look at some of these guys that are coming up next year. So if you're going into the college season, you at least have a primer on who you should be looking at. Potentially could be Patriots in 2026, etc., right? So let's get into it. Before I start clicking away, though, in this case, tapping away, I wanted to, how should I say this? Go over at least some of the, stronger position groups. Now, let's just, all right, actually, before we even get into that, let's talk, I guess the Patriots, assuming they're high single digits wins this year, maybe they crack 10, who knows? I think the combination of coaching staff, presumably a weaker schedule, of course, on paper, we'll see what actually happens in the middle of the year. Free agency, solid draft. I think that's possible. So, middle of the pack, we'll assume they're going to be picking, somewhere in the middle teens right there, right? Now, that's big because it's interesting that there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks. So next year, you should have probably 4 or 5 guys in the first round for quarterbacks. And, it's definitely deeper than it was this past draft class. Even though there was a decent amount of quarterbacks in the class, obviously none of them being elite, except, Cam Ward's pretty good, but I think you might be able to find 3 or 4 Cam Ward-esque type players in this draft class. Maybe more, actually. You might get probably 10 quarterbacks could be eligible in the top 50 this year. In 2026. So, what is that? That's interesting. So, yeah, I guess it's going to help the Patriots out significantly because you still have to believe that anybody who's in the top 10 picking, there's going to be at least half of those guys are going to need a quarterback. So, in many ways, the Patriots could have a much better year, but still have a shot at some top-level talent. So that's important. Actually, you know, let's actually move to the next. Let's take a look at QBs. So they have Archie, who we'll put an asterisk there. I think in terms of like, I mean, I know he's a Manning, and I think that kind of obviously helps him out a little bit. But when I think about it, yeah, I think in terms of just pure talent, he's very athletic. You know, he might be a Manning, but he can actually move around. He can scramble. His arm seems okay. He's definitely got some ability to play some backyard ball, but then obviously playing structure. So he's going to be, you know, a pretty good prospect coming out. Now the question is, will he come out? Of course, this will be his first, first full season coming in as the starting quarterback for Texas. If Texas goes and has a similar run last year in terms of their record, being obviously rated number 1 overall for a good chunk of the season, and then getting deep into the playoffs, etc. If they do that, and it's on the back of Archie Manning, just putting up record numbers and stuff like that, I'm sure he's going to come out because he'll be definitely number 1 overall. And if he likes who's going to be picking him, he'll probably come out. But again, asterisks, he could easily just go back. That being said, Garrett, Nussmeier, nope. I think I would probably, if you take Archie out of it, I think Drew Aller, followed by probably Lenore Sellers, and then Cade Klubnik. Nussmeier, I'm not that big on him. They have Nico in there too, look at that. Very talented athlete, but maybe not much of a leader. But you know what, honestly, if you go those guys in the top 20 there, the 6 there, some combination, again, if you move Archie out of it, that top 5, I think is fair. Yeah, and you could probably see another 4 probably go in the top 50 if these guys work out. Cam Rising's going to be out. Oh, you know what? Mark Gronowski, South Dakota State University, transferred to Iowa. Now, Iowa's not going to let him, not exactly a high-powered vertical offense there, but he'd be interesting to watch out for the Patriots for next year. There's some other guys in here I can see. Connor's fallen all the way down to undraftable. I hope he has a bounce-back season. He was, a lot of people were thinking that he could be a first-rounder even last year. I never saw it, but he's got talent. We'll see if, he makes a rebound this year. So anyway, point being, quarterbacks. So say you get 4 or 5 in the top 10. That'll obviously push some talent back towards the Patriots. So that goes to the next part of discussion. What do the Patriots need? What don't they need? They will need probably a quarterback next year for. So that's, I guess, in part of this conversation, but probably still push off corner a little bit. Might not be an absolute pressing need for first round, but safety, maybe. Edge rusher, definitely. Another right tackle, definitely in the mix. Edge rusher, 100%. Linebackers, probably. Wide receiver, most definitely. So, even tight end, we'll see what happens there. Guard might be your top priority next year. So, yeah, I mean, everything, it's still developing. They don't have, that 30-ish% of their, 30% of their roster essentially being starting level players on rookie contracts. It's kind of that like level where you kind of look and you're like, yeah, we've hit 3 or 4 drafts in a row for the most part, and we went out and got some free agents, and now we make the push. Now, here's the thing: if the development, say there's a lot of latency in here in this roster because it just hasn't been developed over the last couple of years, that's a possibility. Maybe the last 2 draft classes all of a sudden just explode this year, and then everything works out, and then they make a huge jump, and then we're just talking about, nitpicking, finding, 3 or 4 guys in this draft class, and then a few more guys in free agency, and all of a sudden now you got a legitimate contender. But we'll see. Kind of almost on the inverse right now. So quarterbacks could give you a shot at some top talent. Now let's go back to the big board. Sorry that I'm talking in circles today. Let's take a look. Now Caden Proctor, I think him and Caleb Downs are your top 2, which they actually have. They have TJ Parker in there. Both the guys from Clemson, Parker and Woods, definitely could be. I mean, they don't exactly have the greatest tape, but in terms of consistency, production, but the flashes on the tape are scary. So I could see them being top 10 guys. But if you ask me who are the top players in this draft, it'd be 3 offensive tackles, Caleb Downs, and then Anthony Hill. Let's take a look at the tackles real quick. Let's have that discussion first. So you got Caden Proctor. If you don't know who he is, 6'7", like 350, 360 from Alabama. Solid left tackle. I don't want to say Joe Alt because he doesn't have the movement skills of Joe Alt, but probably him and Olu would be fighting for that like second, third best offensive tackle prospect to come out in the last 5 years. So he's that good. I could see him possibly being first overall if the team that is picking first overall doesn't need a quarterback per se. But Francis Mauigoa has been playing right tackle at Miami. I'm sure they're moving him to left this year, so that might bump him up even more. I could see him being a top 5 guy. Now for the Patriots, he's up there for me because he's played right tackle, super athletic. Patriots could definitely use a legitimate right tackle. Now, Morgan Moses looks healthy, keeps going. Maybe that pushes it off for a year. And thankfully, there's plenty of other tackles in this draft class. Spencer from Utah, Fano, definitely your best technical. And he might even leapfrog both those guys if he has a good enough season. Which, again, if he probably has what he had last year, I think that's in play. But we'll see. Isaiah World, he's interesting. Transfer from Nevada. Big, tall dude. He kind of reminds me of like young Shaq, where big, tall, long arms, broad dude. Not exactly thick, functional strength, bendable. He seems pretty stiff, and the functionality is probably going to be an issue. Definitely going to have a pad height issue, but we'll see. Let's see what Oregon does with him. They might develop him a little bit more, make a big jump this year. Now, Caleb, he's a solid right tackle. Keep him in mind for the Patriots. Florida should have a good offensive line this year. Him, Barber. Oh, who's the other guy? He's in here, right? Oh, where is he? Oh, he's not on. That's going to bother me. Oh, there he is. No. Why can't I find him? And there's, what's his face? Damian. Oh, no, he have him at guard, don't they? Yeah, they have him at guard. Oh, there he is. Kearney. Yeah. So Florida should have a good offensive line this year. Definitely worth watching. But after that, you got Elijah Pritchett, solid right tackle. He's probably high up on my list for the Patriots. Blake Miller, Clemson, plays right tackle, but he might be an interesting interior offensive lineman if they can develop him that way. Drew Shelton from Penn State plays solid left and right tackle. Can play some interior as well. High up on my list. And then I could see both of them right there. Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern and Ethan Aniawa. Now, they're down in the 100 here, 100 area. For this, honestly, both of those guys I could see possibly making pushes to be first-round draft picks. Ethan, Now, they have him at Rice in here. He's at Ohio State this year. I mean, this guy is absolute monster. A little bit much, talking to Jim Nagy, too much of a like hip bender, bend at the waist. We'll see. He's raw. Now, Caleb Tiernan from Northwestern, I don't think he's raw at all. I didn't watch that much Northwestern, but I don't think that dude, I didn't see him even give up pressure last year. Again, handful of games, but nobody has shot with him. So I could see him being potentially a first-round draft pick. I think he's like 6'7", 330-ish. But I know he played left and right at one point. Now he's primary left this year. Patriots grab him for a right tackle. And if he all of a sudden develops into like an all-world left tackle, then you have the idea is like, well, does he have to take over for Will Campbell, bump Will Campbell inside? I don't think that needs to happen at all. I fully expect Will Campbell to be a top half of the league tackle. But if all of a sudden Caleb Tiernan becomes an all-star left tackle, or he's just an all-star right tackle, great. Here's the thing, though. I'm fully expecting him to be a near first round, if not high day 2 pick. And for the Patriots, that wouldn't be a bad pick for them. All right, wide receivers. I'm not Carnell Tate that high at all. But that being said, you could probably argue all the way down to about 100 here. Yeah, even Eugene Wilson. Robinson, I have to watch some more. Sarrett's pretty good. J. Michael Sturdivant, Hakeem Williams. Yeah, all the way down to 188, minus maybe a couple guys in here. All these guys could be battling for a top 50 pick. Look how many guys are in here. And of course, if you're going to be told that you're going to be picked in the 200s almost for some of these guys, they're going to be like, all right, I'll just go back for another year if they have another year of eligibility. So let's expect this wide receiver class to be thinned out. But if it stays like this, you're looking at a bunch of guys who are not only just rosterable, but should be starting their first year. Now, there's also a good mix of big X receivers in here. Number one, obviously being Nick Harbor. If you follow college football, I mean, this kid's been almost a legend in terms of potential. And I'm not joking. I know a lot of people, this is the name that people like to throw out there. But he's the closest thing as if you want to say in terms of like athletic, physical profile to Calvin Johnson, it's Nick Harbor. Because he's going to be 6'4", 6'5", well over 200 pounds. Going to give you a 40-inch vert. Going to run near high 4.2s, low 4.3s. The problem is you do not see it show up on the stat line, which is not entirely his fault. But there's also if you're that good, you should be getting something. If you're that wide open, your quarterback has to throw it to you. So he definitely needs to work on route running. He is a big X receiver. Is he a dominant alpha one? Not at the moment. But if you want somebody that has all the potential in the world, it's going to be him. But that doesn't mean he's the only one. Nick Anderson's a big dude. Branch is pretty good too. Malachi Fields is another big X receiver. Burks is a shifty guy. He's probably your top slot in here. Greathouse is pretty good. My top 2 big X receivers that the Patriots are not going to go after, the other 2 there would be actually the 2 right there, J. Michael Sturdivant and Hakeem Williams. Both of them still pretty raw. Sturdivant has been an issue with drops at UCLA. Let's see what happens at Florida. And Hakeem Williams just doesn't really have popped yet. But if you look, he's like 6'4", 6'5", like 220-ish. Absolute beast. So, Russell. Yeah, this is a deep class. Coleman's pretty solid, too. Oh, man. So, Jalen Brown. Landon Humphreys at Georgia. There's good names in here. Prentice, Barian Brown. I forgot he went there. He transferred. Look at that. Antonio Gates Jr. Yes. The Antonio Gates. Kendrick Law. Transferred to Kentucky. Interesting. Yeah, this is Dane Key from Nebraska. Yeah, oh my gosh. A lot of names moving around this offseason. Colby Young, I know, is back at Georgia. I guess the whole off-field, actually, I shouldn't say off-field. That's a very serious accusation. That's, I guess, what might have been fabricated, I guess. I don't know. Aggie Hall is still in college. He's at Sac State, huh? If you want to look at one of the faster guys for next year, Squirrel White. Still love that name. JoJo Earl somehow still in college. Anybody else down here? No. Colin Lacey at 766. Now, he got injured last year, but that's an interesting dude to watch. He's a little shorter. I think he's like 5'9", 5'10". He's built like a running back. But, man, can that guy... Guy's got some moves. He's fast, but he's got some moves. He's interesting to watch. Anyway, so that's wide receiver. Let's take a look at edge. Ruben Bain, top of the list there. I am not going to argue with that. He would be somebody that I'd be big on for the Patriots. DDS, not there. Him at 18. Let's see, over 10. Okay, now here's some interesting ones. Guys that I was hoping that he would come out last year for the Patriots. But this is a great example of just by simply coming back. The addition by subtraction. So these guys are getting moved up just because the last year getting moved out. David Bailey from Stanford, linebacker, hell of an edge rusher though. So if you're looking for that like kind of Mike Green, just Wolverine moving around, burning it up, David Bailey. And as far as I know, no serious off-field hack. I mean, he seems like a solid dude. Now the other guy would be Gabe Akis from Illinois. 6'3", 6'4", 270s. Absolute beast. Kind of very Keon White-esque in terms of his build. Very explosive, but also dynamic. High-end speed, can play at the linebacker level. So those two guys I'd put high up on my list for the Patriots. So I'd go Bain. We'll see what DDS does at Penn State this year, but then I would put Bailey and Akis there. I also like Adebawari, Kamara, Saka. Those guys are solid. Where's Peyton? Oh, right there. Patrick Peyton. I wouldn't put him at 172, but hey, I guess they haven't really done a really great job of. There's Princely's brother, Prince Will. Yeah, I don't think they've done a full analysis here. I think they might have just taken their top 200 and then just, yeah, because Popeye and Cyrus Moss should be probably a little higher. Let's see. Anybody else talk about that we need to? Interior offensive line. If there's one thing that's I think is dramatically stronger this year, is going to be the center class. Now, getting Jared Wilson, getting him in the third round, smart. But next year, in terms of depth at center in the draft, both high end and just throughout, much stronger. Jake Slaughter's in there, Parker's in there, Logan Jones, Connor from Tollison from Missouri, Bryce Foster from Kansas. All those guys probably worthy of top 100 picks as a center. Now, here's the thing. I think the Patriots definitely lucked out getting Jared where they did in the draft. But all these other guys might be picked ahead of where, Jared Wilson would be picked, this year. So these guys might actually be taken earlier. I mean, doubtful. I guess that's true. I don't think there's going to be 5 teams that need centers, but 2 of these guys can play some other positions. What else? Pregnant's probably my top guard. I also like what's-his-face from Campbell from Texas is solid. Anybody else in here? Zach Rice, who's going to play some center, I believe, this year at North Carolina. He's interesting to keep an eye on for both center and guard and some tackle, actually. Oh, interesting. Oh, there's Mike. I was going to say, where's Micah Morris? Micah. He's pretty good at Georgia. A little older, but Very aggressive. Hunter going to Texas Tech this year. Nice job. Yeah, there's some names in there that I'm not seeing that are actually pretty solid for a guard. That's interesting. But if you want somebody I'm looking at, Manuel Pregnol, and Chase Pasantis from Texas A&M is pretty solid. Jaden Roberts might have some character issues in there, but we'll see. Oh, Lalu from Oregon's pretty solid too. There you go. There's some names in here. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about outside tackles. My top 2 guys for the Patriots for first rounders. Ready? Linebacker Anthony Hill. For all you that were so big on Jalen Walker because he has some sacks and, oh yeah, he looked pretty good and he's dynamic. Yeah, Anthony Hill, unlike Jalen Walker, who had only basically 1 year starting at Georgia, Anthony Hill's been starting his first 2 years at Texas and has production. And he also doesn't benefit, or his tackles, I should say his production is from him. It's not like Jalen Walker, who was most of his big explosive plays are a result of the front 7 at Georgia, just creating utter chaos and forcing quarterbacks to make mistakes, flushing them out for sacks or interceptions. So Anthony Hill, 100%, 6'3", 240, super long arms, amazing in coverage, full comprehensive athlete. Definitely high on him. Now the other guy would be safeties. Caleb Downs, arguably the best player in the draft overall. I'm also pretty big on Dylan, but he'd probably be most like a slot safety. Safeties in general are strong. I'm looking at all those guys easily being worthy of top 100 picks, and I'm going all the way down to Rod Moore. If I have one that's that Cole Wisniewski, North Dakota State University, I think he's 6'5". Injured last year, but moving to Texas Tech. Good move for him. It'd be nice to see what he can do at the FBS level. But, Bud Clark could easily be a top 50 safety next year. Elliott Washington, I think he was injured last year too. Xavier, all these names are Kamari Ramsey. We've been waiting for him to come out. So, lots of good names here. Saab being legit. So that's safety class. Patriots should be high on that. Patriots should also, going back to linebacker, by the way, I kind of just blew past everybody else. Both Perkins are legit. CJ Allen, I have to watch him a little bit more. Linebackers at Georgia just kind of get swapped in and out, so I have to watch him. But if you're looking at, both guys from LSU, Torrey York is a freak. Getting him, Austin Romaine from Kansas State's an absolute nasty middle linebacker. Lander Barton's legit, very good. He's much higher than that. There's another guy. There's another guy from Pittsburgh that's solid. Is it him? It's not Jordan Bass. Who's the other guy from Pittsburgh? Yeah, Kyle Lewis. Oh yeah, there he is. So there's just the linebacker group is much stronger next year. Harold Perkins is the one that's kind of interesting. I know a lot of people like him because he's, a little more athletic. He'd be kind of more of a Jalen Walker. He's 6'1". He's 220-ish. So, what's interesting is that the numbers I have from him, unless he's grown an inch and a half, is that he's basically under 6 foot. So, I know his listing's at 6'1" in several places. So, I don't know if that really is a legit number. It's possible that it's 5'11" and a half. That's the one I have, so we'll see. If he's really under 6 foot, and what's interesting is if you want to watch how that guy plays, it's very Jabril Peppers-esque. So, but him and the other Perkins from Mississippi are both very similar in terms of their play style. Very explosive disruptors. But again, I'd put Hill... Sonny Styles being an absolute freak athlete, can play just about everywhere. Very Marte Mapu-esque. York being great in coverage. Yeah, that's just a good safety linebacker class. Good safety class. Running back's obviously going to take a step back. Wide receiver could be great, but we'll see what happens with how many guys actually, declare for the draft. But we can probably get into it now. I'm sorry, it took so long. Let's go. Actually, I didn't even check where they have them in the... All right, they have them at 11. So let's take a look here. All right, so looks like... Is Hill gone? Yeah. All right, so this is kind of making it... Bain or Downs would be... I'm going to go with Downs. I'm just going to do it because yeah. I don't think I have to explain it too much, but... Singleton, Barber, nope. Branch might be in there, though. I have to watch some more Singleton to have that much conviction on him. Corners we didn't go over is Takaro Davis in here. He's really good. So is Delane, Everett. AJ Harris I have to watch some more of. Damani Jackson's solid. Davidson's obviously super fast, athletic. Jair Hills should have a good year at Michigan. So, good corner class. Not great, but good. I might push this off for just one more. Let's go. Eric Singleton's calling to me here, but... Fernando Mendoza. I'm liking Branch more right now, but Singleton might just be it. Very explosive, so I'll take him. Oh, we can go over D tackles. Yeah. Akis, there's our boy. I'm gonna skip on Takaro, unfortunately. Let's go check out our offensive tackle situation. Caleb Tiernan, thank you very much. Go for DJ maybe in a little bit. How many more tags do we have left here? Still got plenty of... Yeah. Oh, we can go over tight end. Let's see. All right, I'll go after Shamar Easter. We also had Stowers, I think, who had been in there. It doesn't look like, yeah, he's probably gone already. Let's show which ones. Yeah, so Stowers. Sadiq, I'd have to take a more look on him. Max is solid from Purdue. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to go after Shamar Easter if I can get him later on. Much more of a receiving, but that's fine. Move tight end. Yeah. Corner, that's not a bad idea. Ethan Anioa is still in there. That might be a little bit overkill. That corner I might... Let's take a look at linebacker situation. Yeah, I'm okay with holding off on one of those two guys. Corners I'd have to take a look at. Yep. That's the smart one. All right, let's consider some linebackers now. Austin Romaine. Nia still in there? That's really tempting. Yeah, I'll take him and then teach him how to play guard. That's just too good to pass up. All right, Shamar Easter. Yeah, you're a Patriot. Linebacker next. Nope. Oh, Bowen. He's solid. Deion Crawford, I saw him down there. There he is from Buffalo. How much we got left here? A few more picks. So I'm going to go interesting. Yeah, I might go Bowen, followed by, how much we got left? 3? Bowen. Wisniewski's actually an interesting one to consider, even though that'd be an overload for safeties. Bowen, Williams, and then get Gronowski for quarterback. D-tackle. I kind of missed that one, but let's go for it. Let's see how bad. Let's see how much they beat us up. Yeah, they didn't like an Ethan. Okay. But that's interesting. I mean, you got obviously essentially the best player in the draft at 11. Doubt he makes it that far, but you never know with the quarterback situation. Singleton, just a good route runner, great burst. Akis being probably one of my, definitely top 5 edge rushers for me in this draft class. Could have a great year. Tiernan, right tackle, potential left tackle conversion down the road. Davison, very athletic. Looking for, there's a little projection there, but at 117, if he can play what I think he could, if, obviously with some development. Now, Ethan, left, right tackle. He could be, again, if you're taking a chance, say you want to go with Caleb being your right tackle, maybe he moves left and then Ethan comes in at the right. And if maybe he does a guard conversion, that's also potential there. Easter being one of your better move tight ends, jokers in the draft class this year. Bowen, solid linebacker. Hakeem Williams being a big X receiver. And then Mark Gronowski, just a solid backup quarterback. Yeah, I like it. I'll stick with that for today. Gotta get to work. Let me know what you guys think. You think it's a solid draft? Who are you looking at? Who's your top guy? Let me know in the comment section below. If you guys like this content, please like and subscribe. As always, thanks for watching.